Good morning, everyone. Winston Goodfellow here, coming to you from the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance in Pebble Beach, California. Welcome to the Super Bowl of car shows. It's early in the morning, not quite dark 100, more a little bit light 100. Ben, my cameraman, and I have been here since literally dark 100, as you'll see in some film footage. I've been coming to this event since the mid-1970s to date myself, and since 1989, I've been a chief class judge, worked with the organizing committee, a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff. So that's what we're going to try and bring you today, as a perspective that no one else can. Starting with the location where we are standing right now. Ben, give just a little pan shot. So this here is the staging area. And what I mean by that is, behind us is the ramp where the cars go across to get their awards. So the first, second, and third in classes are brought up to here to stage. And then they are called up one by one, saying, okay, third come up, second come up, first come up. It's fantastic because as they pull up, they have no clue what the order is in the class. So what we're gonna do now is take a quick lap around the field. In the old days, when I was working for a lot of magazines, I would call this the flying lap, where I'd just be going out and shooting. I'm not doing that this year. And so we'll wander through, take a look at some cars. I'll point some stuff out to give you an idea of what's going on with Pebble. And welcome to the Super Bowl of car shows. Let's go. So looking directly ahead of us, these are the cars going out onto the field. We're looking at a Siata. That's a class that I will be judging this year. And I was looking to see what's in front of it. And so we're going out to the main field right now. Again, this is the staging area. So the class winners, special award cars, they're brought up to here, and you'll see that they'll be stacked up, waiting to head up onto the awards ramp. This is what's great about Pebble, is the diversity, and all are of a very, very high standard. Looks like we've got a Hispano Suiza elegantly motoring towards us. Okay, let's cross over. One thing that's really fun that you'll see probably in some of the film footage that Ben got is as the cars are rolling onto the field, all the owners are beaming. I mean, this is like running onto the field right before the Super Bowl. Dude, watch out for your feet. We don't need your ankle going into a hole like that. So we're wandering out onto the playing field now. You can see signage that is showing you what the classes are. Here's Class A, which is the antique. So that's basically real early stuff. Late 1890s up to probably about 1910, 1915. McFarlane, pre-war mark. Don't ask me anything. I can pronounce the name. So then the special classes are along the water over here. And this is one of the things that makes this location so special, is that's our backdrop. We'll see if we get any sun today. If you're ever gonna come to Pebble Beach, do something smart, layers. This really saves you. My first year judging is right as I was ducking out the door to come and judge, I said, you know what, I'm gonna grab a sweater. And I am so thankful I did, because a really cold breeze was coming off the water. My judges froze. Thankfully, I did not, because I had brought my sweater. So, looks like an Auburn Boattail Speedster. Pre-war stuff, this. Yeah, so moving further along, typically post-war is out towards the end. Oh, I know what's going on here. Okay, so the special class is here, or this special class along the water. It's the 100th anniversary of Lincoln. And so there will be a really good exhibition of Lincolns. The mark, pre-war and then immediate post-war into the 60s, really had some prestige. And now that prestige, unfortunately, has kind of fallen off a bit. This looks like Graver coachwork over here. That's some pretty cool stuff. It's a coach builder I don't know that much about. And so I'm looking at stuff, and it's the first time I'm seeing some of this. Like, I don't even know what this is. This is really cool. Let's go take a look. Bentley.
I'm good. All right, you suck. I know.
Good luck with your car. This is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, is that a one-off?
It is.
That's lovely. I've never seen it before.
First time it's been in the United States.
Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you. From Japan.
Of course. It looks like Japanese coachwork. Thanks, you guys. That's really cool. Just that long hood. The elegance of that's classic Bentley, but just that long hood threw me for a curve. So then here's going to be the Talbot Lago Grand Sport exhibit, which is, Talbot Lago was a famous French marque known for flamboyant coachwork pre-war, also good with racing. Then when post-war, they started messing around with a fastback design. The Grand Sport model was their fastest at the time. There's going to be some fantastic stuff over here. Duesenberg is a mainstay here. Realistically, the most majestic of the American marques. I mean, just look at the majesty of that thing. This was big with a Hollywood set, 1930s. Wow. Yeah, impressive stuff. So, wandering along here, post-war preservation. We started this late 1990s because everyone thinks about Pebble Beach being, everything's so polished and perfect, this, that, and the other thing. There was a movement starting, well, it's actually been around for quite a while, where cars that have never been touched, we're really starting to finally realize these are automotive archaeological artifacts, where you can really learn, no, this is how the constructors did it back in the day. And so these type of classes, post-war and pre-war preservation, that's what this is all about. This Porsche 904 here is, boy, I wonder if this is Nick Begovich's old car. If it is, a guy bought the car new at the factory, and he just recently passed away. He owned it his entire life. He was a fantastic guy. And it had like 1,000 miles on it, never touched. So sometimes you see it like this, sometimes you see it with the paint going like that, but it's wonderful when you see the patina. One thing I always look for on this is the uniformity of presentation, which is, for those of you that are into the concours scene, it's something nobody talks about, but it's a real key. Uniformity of presentation means your interior, exterior, engine compartment all look like the same type of presentation, where it's not one's too flashy and one's original or worn out or anything like that. It has to be uniform. The way I describe it is, you don't go around in a $2,000 suit wearing a $100 pair of shoes, because the thing everyone will notice is the shoes and not the suit. So, this 250 Europa sat in a garage in Southern California for decades. Because I remember I was offered that car to see if I could find a home for it, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. Cool looking E-Type, Mercedes-Benz 300 SL going. Little Abarth, fantastic coachwork, rear engine. These were the giant killers. The small capacity engine, but they were so fast, they were quicker than a lot of larger displacement cars. Looks like a lightweight Jag E-Type, the Lancia. This is great stuff. So, and I'm seeing this for the first time. Racing Aston Martin. Bud, heads up for our guy coming through.
Sir, car coming through. Thank you.
This is what's so glorious about being here early in the morning, is you're seeing the field come to life. And then in the afternoon, boom, it disappears. Here's great weirdness. Auto Bianchi runabout, if I'm remembering correctly, one off from Bertone in the late 1960s. Here's our man Rex trying to polish and being totally frustrated by all the fog that's doing this. And you notice he's got his gloves on. No, Rex isn't wound too tight. So look at how luscious this little Maserati is with Frua coachwork. How fantastic is that? I went out in one of these, or something similar, with a 1500cc engine, and it was amazingly quick. You would never think it would be that quick with just 1500 cc's. And the blat of the exhaust, the sound of the motor, we had a glorious time. Lancia Aurelia, fantastic car. On the road, heads up, bud. Fantastic car on the road. I would take this over a 300 SL Roadster, which would probably surprise some people, heads up. But when you're behind the wheel, you understand why. Now we're looking at the class that I'll be judging today, the automotive, meaning 8V. So we're looking at Fiats and Siatas. They used a 2-liter V8 engine that was done by Fiat. Fiat had extra motors. They offered it to this marque called Siata, which was also based near them. They had a good working relationship, and so these also used the same engine, 115, 110, 120 horsepower, lightweight, all kinds of cool coach work. Pretty good drive, too. The only thing you have to be careful of is the gearbox. It's a real long throw. The brakes also, you know, we're so used to disc brakes. These use drums, so you kind of have to plan ahead of time. But they're nimble, they're fun, they're reasonably quick. The ride was fantastic. Steering was nice and talkative. Great thing to drive. But you can see the variety of coachwork just walking along here. Aston Martin DB6, post-war touring closed. That makes total sense. That's interesting. I'm not even sure what Mr. Blue is, other than it has Gia coachwork. Looking over here to the right, making sure that nobody's coming. So, starting over here and just moving along here, you have a fantastic grouping of Ferraris. And I bring this up because there's a Ferrari restorer that I was talking with before the show. There's 9 cars to be judged in the class. Us judges typically like to do 8. We have 3 hours to do the judging in. And so it's approximately 20 minutes per car. But when you start to go over that, it becomes pretty difficult. We really like it better when it's 6, because that gives you even more time. But our guys are so experienced. For instance, the class that I'm in, the Siata class, is cumulatively, so myself as the chief class judge and then the 3 judges I'm working with, we probably have 110 years cumulative experience at Pebble. Okay, you want to see something cool? Turn around. It's on a Chrysler chassis, big block engine, based on an original design by Giovanni Savanuzzi, who was working with Gia at the time, called Gilda. Then you had Super Gilda. If there was a Ferrari that looked similar to that, there's a handful of one-offs like that that use American engines. So now going back to the Ferrari class that we were talking about, all competition cars with some sort of competition history, Ferrari's always where the big boys come to play. To do a restoration for one of these guys, figure $1 million. You know, probably 800 to 1.2 is going to cover you pretty well. I was talking with someone who's not judging the class, but knows all the cars, knows all the restorers, and so we did a fun bet where he said, out of the 9 cars being judged, he thinks 7 will score 100 points. And so I said, okay, fine, let's bet. And so we're doing like $1. So I'm getting numbers 1 through 6 and 8 and 9, and he's like, okay, you got to give me some odds. And so we didn't settle on the odds. It's like 5 to 1 or 10 to 1. So it's my $5 to $10 versus his $1. And this is just Bud's having some fun. I'll be real curious to see how he does. And if I bump into him later today, well, we'll have to see what the results are, and then he'll find out because he's pretty connected with everyone. So he should be able to know what the cars scored. And I could also ask. But it's just fantastic stuff. I have no clue. Looking at this, I have no clue. This is the big boys league. So let's continue. Here's a classic Pebble Beach car. So I have no clue what's going to win Best of Show here. When we were talking about the Quail earlier, Quail's oriented towards motorsports, and so we're looking at a Jag D-Type, which coincidentally I said this is a car that has the potential to win Best of Show there. Coincidentally, it did. This is the type of car that us judges at Pebble have loved. Is this flamboyant custom coachwork, this Talbot Lago teardrop from the late 1930s. They made about 15 of those. This to me this is what we call rolling sculpture. This is like Art Deco on wheels that happens to move. Thing's actually not a bad drive. So, and then we come around and look at the Bentley behind it, and it's an entirely different look. This is what makes pre-war so interesting, is the variance in coachwork. The way this has the long hood, it has the shorter cabin. Great colors too, the way they would two-tone this. And then the wheels are, you know, it's not like today. Wheels were all sorts of different colors and different styles. Interesting contender here. Here comes an Grifo 7-liter. This car just underwent pretty good restoration. Be interesting to see how he does in his class. He had a fantastic restorer on that car. Bingo. We've got a Bugatti coming towards us. Here they're being placed on the field in a specific spot. So this isn't done at random. We've got an Apollo coming towards us. Let's get out of the way. So these folks in the golf cars, they'll put them in place, boom, they go right back up to the entranceway, get the next car, bring it out. Right behind us here, you want to see something pretty wild. Voisin, French mark, done by a guy, I forget what Voisin's first name was, but he was totally into airplanes and that type of stuff. So it's really about function. And then if you take a look at the interior in this is over the top. How cool is that? The appendages coming off the front end are for rigidity. Man, we've picked a good time to come here. Just look at the stuff rolling on by. Heads up, right behind you. Let's get out of the way. See, this is what's so wild. Because if we're looking here, I'm assuming light blue thing, I'm assuming that's a Talbot Lago Grand Sport. I honestly don't know. I mean, how friggin' whacked looking is that? I hope you like my sophisticated judging terminology there. Bingo, Ben, why don't we just wander on up here? Just, yeah, and this is what else is great, is where you get to hear the sounds of the engines and the exhaust, because they're all so different. So we basically walked from one end of the show field to the other. Looks like we've got a great class of Alfa Romeos down here. Just looking at what I'm seeing right now, I'm assuming it's 8Cs, which was really their premier model. Fantastic for endurance racing. They also use them for open wheelers. Here comes another Talbot Lago.
Hello, Winston.
Bud, how are you? Is this yours or did you restore it?
No, it's an original car.
Oh, awesome. Remember we were talking about originality? Bingo, there you go. One that's untouched. That was Mike Regalia. Fantastic restorer out of Southern California. This is pretty funny because I'm actually I've been so blessed to come here my entire life. And you look out at this and you play with all these cars. Key to life. If you love what you do, very rarely is it work. Chase your passion. Because if there's impediments, you just simply figure out a way around it. That's where I've been so lucky. And this is, I mean, how I stumbled into this, that's a story for another time. But I've been judging here since 1989. I retired in 2010. They brought me back. I said, okay, it's time for some other guys to come in so that they can judge. I was talking with a chief judge at the time, a guy named Ed Gilbertson. And I said, Ed, how many guys do you have waiting to get into the judge's room? He said over 100. I thought, right on the spur of the moment, I thought, okay, that's long enough. I've been a chief class judge for 21 years. I've had my fun. It's time to walk away. Let someone else come in that hasn't done it before, that has that real burning hunger to go in and make their mark. And I'd already done it, so I walked away, but I said, if the Concours ever needs me, I'll be available. And they've invited me back. This is probably my 6th time since in quotes, retiring. So here you see a wonderful class of hot rods, and it might even be cover cars, looking at how they have it set up. And what's nice about this is it's so different than what we were looking at on the playing field, where you see all this different type of custom coach work. This, in many ways, is American custom coach work. Okay, it's 7:15. I need to start heading back to the judges' room, because at 7:30, we've got, that's when we have our judges meeting. And then we come out on the field, probably 8:15, 8:30. We have our 3 hours to judge the cars, so we're gonna do a flying beeline going straight back through the field. We'll see what we see, and then I'll be seeing you guys later today. So, looks like we got a Jag C-Type coming towards us. Yes, we do. Bingo. Here's our guy that's taking him out to the spot where he's going to be parked. We've got a Lincoln behind him. And then what we'll do is we'll wait for the Lincoln to go by, and then we'll do our beeline. See what we can see. Okay. Oh man, hang on a sec. We got to go down to the water. Beeline ain't going to be straight, but I got to get back. And it's just because I'm looking. So Le Mans is celebrating 100 years next year. World's most famous race. For me, it's the most important. And so the first place that's being celebrating the centenary anniversary is the Monterey Classic Car Week, of which Pebble Beach is the anchor. Boom, Ben, you'll want to come out here later. I mean, look at this, how fantastic is this? Because here you really see the variance. So it'll be great when everything's uncovered. There's probably 956 or 962. Got a Ford GT40. There's an Iso Grifo A3C that won its class at Le Mans 65. So, yeah, I got to keep moving or I'm going to be late. Man. Yeah, just nope, got to stay focused, got to keep moving. Here we're walking along the back of the Ferraris that we talked about earlier. Listen to the engines. How fantastic is that rumble? Okay. Jag C-Type, that won Le Mans 2 or 3 times in 1950, so that's why he's backing into there. Coming up on the left, we got some Cunninghams, an American mark that used, the first one was a modified Cadillac, which is insane. And then there's your normal Cadillac. First year, Briggs Cunningham was the privateer. He went there, raced that thing. It actually did okay. He was a wealthy sportsman, as they were called back in the days. Let's go up this way. Ferrari they made 4 of. 340 Ghia Berlinetta. I've actually driven that car. Coming back up on the Duesenbergs. There's the fantastic Talbot Lago Grand Sport class. Wonderful cypress tree behind us. Yes, if you ever get a chance to do it, granted, it's not inexpensive. Tickets are probably $400 to $500 to get in, but it's worth it because every year the field is new. So, and they typically have a 10-year rule that you can't bring a car back for 10 years. So it's never the same. And that's what's so glorious. Because this is the Super Bowl of car shows, people do restorations specifically targeting this show.
That's it? That's it?
And you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 years, even longer, they'll just go through and restore cars. All the big boys come here to play.
Hey, Winston.
Good morning.
Hey, dude.
Okay. Boom, keep going this way. And then, oh, in the last 15 years or so, you've seen lots of manufacturers like Aston Martin, come here, and they'll do entertaining and have clients, and they'll often be featured marks here. So where you really get to dial into history. And again, you see stuff that you wouldn't see otherwise. Because it's Pebble Beach, they come here. They will all of them want to play in the Super Bowl. And in all honesty, there's some people that get upset when they don't win. And I was talking with a restorer one time after the car. He had restored one, Best of Show. And he was and so we started speculating on why do the big boys keep coming back for more, even when they don't win. And he had a real interesting theory, which was these guys are so successful in life. They win everywhere else. This is the only place they can come and still feel the pins and needles. They don't know if they're going to win. And so that excitement just, it's the only place they can get it. So, all right. Got a nice Alfa Romeo behind us. And so why don't we just cut her here, give one final pan of the playing field, and then we'll be doing a little bit. Dude, there's a man. Good auction?
Great auction.
Awesome.
How much you all right?
So, yeah. So just finishing up this so I can get to the judges' room before I'm fired. So, bingo. There's good weirdness. Oscar, Fiat 8V with Zagato body. And so I was going to say we'll cut it there and we'll just continue to walk. So here we are back at the staging area. Get to see a little bit of stuff come on by. And so for those of you that are hungry, here's one place you can go. Some people eat in the lodge. You have to have special access to get in there. It's fantastic. The atmosphere is incredible. Okay, we got one car coming. Then we'll cross over after that. Lincoln.
Oh, he's in Westworld?
Excuse me. Okay, and here we are back at the lodge at Pebble Beach. Concours has been going on here since 1950. It's the oldest continuous running concours in the world. The only year they missed has been two. One was in 1960 because of rain, and then the other was because of COVID. And so here's where I'm gonna have to love you all and leave you. Here's the judges' room, where I'm heading up for a meeting.
No, I know.
And so,
Oh, how are you?
life is good. You? I'll see you up there momentarily. Those of you that like Nissan, there's your man. He's designed a bunch of stuff, chief designer. I'm going up to the judges' room, and I'll see you later today. Ben's gonna be buzzing around shooting some images and some rolls that you'll see later. So see you later today after judging duties are over. Hey everyone, long day today at Pebble Beach. It's been absolutely fantastic. This morning, basically the entire morning was occupied judging the AV class, and the Siata class had a wonderful group of judges. Probably between the four of us, we had 110 years of cumulative experience. And so here we are in the afternoon, a little toasted. It's been a marvelous day. Where I'm standing now is Winner's Circle. This is where all the class winners come, and then there's a select group of us.
Sharing the drive.
And what we do is we wander through here and we look for best of show. And so those of us that are lucky enough, we get this. This is what a Pebble Beach Best of Show ballot looks like. And so there's probably, I'm guessing, 40 of us that do this. And it's the chief class judges, chief honorary judges, and then a handful of other select judges. And so we wander through here. And what I'm doing when I look at this, it's almost what's the pow factor. So, and then we have Alfredo over here who's telling me to do this. Don't you love people?
You know what that means? Quick with it.
That's it. Hey, bud.
Good to see you.
So, hang on a sec. Give me 2 more minutes. And so, I wander through here. You can't judge things here, looking at authenticity, originality, that type of stuff. So what I'm primarily looking for is what I call the pow factor. It's just what grabs you, what twists your guts, what makes you really excited. Sometimes it's very difficult to decide. I'm looking forward to seeing what's here to see if this is going to be difficult or easy. When it's difficult, my ultimate tiebreaker is the day after the concours, what car, when I walked out to the garage and lifted up the garage, what car would I want to see sitting there? And that's my ultimate decision maker for Best of Show at Pebble. Again, all these have won their classes, so there's nothing to look at in terms of authenticity, originality, or condition. It's you're going for that ethereal, the it factor, I guess we could call it. So let's go take a look at me voting, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so Hispano's moving out right now from Winner's Circle. That likely means it has won some sort of special award. Because there's much more than just best of show. So you have most elegant open, most elegant closed, careful behind you. And so all sorts of unusual awards. And so that guy's probably won something. We looked at this earlier, the Talbot Lago Teardrop. Great stuff. One of those won Best of Show, 1995-96. Here's Talbot Lago Teardrop, or excuse me, another Talbot Lago post-war. Farina coachwork.
And I'm confident you'll be.
Good-looking piece. Hey, bud. Huh, I recognize you guys.
Congratulations.
Doing? Good. You?
Thank you so much for making sure the car was here.
Oh, so this is you.
This is me.
Okay, so I'm actually doing a little thing while I'm judging Best of Show. May I introduce?
Sure.
Peter Kalikow, one of the world's best Ferrari collectors. His son, Nick. Gee, what a surprise. You guys have a 1 of 4 Ferrari. And gee, what a surprise that I find it here in Winner's Circle. These guys know how to play the game. They get great stuff. And you've been doing it how long?
Since 1967.
So, and if memory serves me correctly, you first got hooked on Ferraris at the 1958 New York Auto Show.
PF
So, yeah, that's a Series 1, and what we call a Series 1 Cabriolet. 40 of them made. Things just absolutely gorgeous. And so what Peter has here, that won its class, is this 330 GTC Speciale, 1 of 4 made. How long have you had this?
4 years. Took a long time to get the reservation.
How many years?
4.
Okay, 4. I wasn't sure if you said 4 or 40, because knowing you, it could have been either. So it's lovely. So,
And you know, I used it for a year before I put it into reservation.
oh, good for you.
Just to get all the bugs out of it.
Well, that's one of the great things about you is you use your stuff.
I love this car.
Yeah, you don't do trailer queens. No, not at all. Cool. All right, we're gonna wander. I got to keep looking for voting. So good to see you, bud. And then maybe I'll see you at the dinner tonight. Is this the old Begovic car?
It is indeed.
So what is 1,000 miles on this thing?
2.
It's 2,000 miles.
3,009 kilometers.
So, yeah, 1,800
I broke
miles.
3,000 kilometers driving in this morning.
Oh, isn't that a terrible duty that you had to subject yourself to, young
Well,
man?
you know, you can drive it in reverse and like roll the numbers backwards.
So,
I mean, I've seen you twice, and you ran away the other way, but it's fine. Yeah, this is an amazing thing. I have said, and I know I'm saying this only because this is being recorded, I have said that if this car did not win post-war preservation, then what is post-war preservation?
so the reason Mr. Donald Osborne is saying that is a gentleman named Nick Begovich bought this car new at the Porsche factory, 1964 thereabouts.
1964, April thereof.
Basically drove it 1,000, 1,500 miles, and then put it away in a warehouse. This thing's completely untouched. Nothing's been restored on this. That is exactly how a car looked when it was new. And it's fantastic. Nick did this with a number of cars. He had his ATS, he had the Porsche, he had a Pantera, the Mira. It was some good stuff. Good old Donald here works for the gentleman that bought the collection, and it was a great just come in and scoop and take the whole thing. I mean, that was impressive.
One look at those cars, and I said,
Oh yeah,
this is an opportunity of a lifetime.
lifetime. Yes, yeah. So, all right, gentlemen, I have to look important. Here, I'll wave my bowel around so I can look cool. Yeah, I need to go. I need to go continue the voting process.
Actually, your voting process has ended, has it not?
I don't know yet, because I've only walked down half of this row.
I think your voting process has ended. Let's see. We'll see you out this way, sir.
Are you guys feeling creeped out like I am?
And the many Le Mans legends here today. We're helping us.
Good to see you, Bubba.
Can't wait to see you shortly.
So this guy, these two published like the world's greatest automotive magazine, Magneto, which I happen to write for. No brown nose in there. It really is the world's greatest automotive magazine.
Obviously, he's our greatest writer.
Gee, flattery's going to get you nowhere. So no, actually, fine. I'm looking forward to the raise. So I like that line better. Yeah.
Second greatest writer.
So. Yeah, why don't we just do 9 o'clock over there?
Yeah, perfect.
And
Address will be there.
yeah, done. I'll ping you the address. They've come on over from the UK for this. And all right, let's continue meandering. See what we can see.
Have fun.
Good, bud. Nice big 410 Sport Ferrari. 2 or 3 of these were made. One of Carroll Shelby's favorite cars. Early Alpha. Cool colors. So let's see here. Bingo. So we've gone through some post-war stuff here. Interesting. Row next to us, we've got some pre-war rolls, lovely colors. Duesenberg. We even talked about this earlier in the day, if I'm remembering correctly. Those of you that think Tesla was first with an electric car, there's something proving you wrong. Lincoln is having a big anniversary this year. It looks like we have some more Lincolns.
So much for bringing the car here today. It's a real treat. Zagato coach.
If there's something that's grabbing my attention, I'll probably go up and take a closer look. But it's also sometimes nice just to stand back like this and be able to see perspective, because here you can really see the form of the car.
Valvo Coupe, owned by Larry.
Somebody's important is walking by. Excuse me, gentlemen.
This is the
He was behind you, you guys. So, anyhow, yeah, good looking stuff over here. This teardrop is nice.
auto show and the Tyranny.
Okay, I think we're going to go to this side.
Very famous car and a very wonderful Siata, example of the 8V engine.
So, fantastic Aston. There's the Apollo we looked at earlier.
Congratulations to Larry and James.
Cool gear body.
And thank you so much for bringing it down the road.
That's nice. Oh, and here's the Bentley we were looking at earlier with the Graver coachwork. Then we've got one of the royalty of automobiles, the 250 GTO.
Historic hot rods. I hope you had a chance to see them all lined up down at the bottom of the fairway today. This is third in class.
Okay.
It's the 1932
Right now?
Ford Ian Cousy Roadster, owned by Robert Owens.
Before we reveal the nominees, we want to thank everyone for coming and for your cooperation and staying clear of the ramp throughout the trophy presentation. After we take the official photographs, we will allow media crews to photograph and interview our 2022 winner. All right, are we ready? Here comes our chairman, Sandra Button, with the envelope. Ladies and gentlemen, the nominees for the 2022 Best of Show Concours d'Elegance winning award is the 1937 Talbot Lago Figoni Falaski Teardrop Coupe, owned by Fritz Burkhardt from Switzerland. The 1932 Duesenberg J. Figoni Sports Torpedo, owned by Lee R. Anderson Sr. from Naples, Florida. The 1930 Duesenberg Model J. Graber Cabriolet, owned by Sam and Emily Mann from New Jersey. And the 1951 Talbot Lago T26 Grand Sport, owned by Merle and Peter Mullen from Los Angeles, California. Congratulations to each of our nominees, and it's an honor to be amongst the highest scoring cars at the Pebble Beach Concours. But there can only be one Best of Show winner. Sandra, may I have the envelope, please? The 2022 Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance Best of Show winner is the 1932 Duesenberg J. Figoni Sports Torpedo, owned by Lee R. Anderson Sr. from Naples, Florida. Congratulations! Presenting the Best of Show trophy and ribbon is David Stivers, CEO of the Pebble Beach Company, and Sandra Button, Chairman of the Pebble Beach Concours.
Give us a smile.
Fantastic Best of Show vote this year. I had 3 of the top 4 on my list, and I'm happy to say I nailed it. That was the car I chose. A wonderful Duesenberg. True Pebble Beach stuff. Awesome choice. We'll see you on the road.